as the human Ronin and the centaur Ventari planted a mysterious seed found in a cave on the Tarnished Coast, a tree grew from the earth, reaching up towards the sky, growing higher and higher with each passing year. Eventually, cocoons began to grow along the tree's branches, spinning out, shifting, and eventually birthing a brand new race to the world of Tyria, an incredible race of inquisitive botanical humanoids, the Sylvari. And as the Sylvari came into the world of Tyria, one was the first to break through from their cocoon, Trahearne. Born during the cycle of dusk, one of the 4 Sylvari cycles, Trahearne is naturally born to be incredibly intelligent and philosophical, enjoying the pure art of studying all that is to be, wrapping their brains around a variety of different puzzles and leading the Sylvari in their pursuit for knowledge of this new world. Born along 11 other Sylvari, Trahearne is a firstborn. The first Sylvari who began work to explore the world, began building their society, and made first contact with the other races of the world. Some Sylvari are given a wild hunt upon their awakening, a unique calling to accomplish a specific objective in the world, a unique itch that can only be scratched by completing their wild hunt. As Trahearne awakened, he heard his call, his summons to cleanse the corrupted lands of the distant kingdom of Or. A fallen human empire that was sunk to the depths of the oceans by Vizier Kilbron to prevent the Char from laying waste to the kingdom, and was subsequently risen by the elder dragon Zhaitan centuries later, ripping the landmass back up from the ocean and turning all previous life into risen, undead monstrosities. Hungry, Zhaitan and his minions wreaked havoc upon the world, consuming magic where they could find it and turning more into risen, a threat that would shake the foundations of Central Tyria and call upon its people to fight back. The Lion Guard, the Order of Whispers, the Seraph, the Vigil, the Derman Priory, and many more factions would fight back against the minions of Zhaitan, desperately defending the innocent lives of those around them and preventing the spread of Zhaitan's undead corruption, but largely alone, stuck to their own corners of the world, defending what they can. As Trahearne began exploring the world, he dedicated most of his time and energy to learning about Or, Zhaitan, the Risen, and everything connected to them. As such, Trahearne became one of the foremost scholars on Orian history, learning about artifacts, rites, and more. Trahearne could potentially find something that would help him with his quest to cleanse the corrupted kingdom. As young Sylvari came forth into the world of Tyria, they began exploring the lands like the previous generations before them, reaching out to other nations, negotiating alliances and trading partnerships, and learning as much about the world as possible. As Trahearne continued his studies on Or, 3 younger Sylvari eventually came into contact with an ancient Orian relic, a mirror that allows people to spy on various places of Or, but also has the ability to create a portal to Or from where the mirror is located. As trouble beset these 3 adventurers, Karis, Tegwin, and a 3rd sapling, Trahearne was called to help because of his knowledge of Orian relics. Through both study and action, Trahearne was able to help the other Sylvari while learning more about Or in the process. During this time, Trahearne was also able to help other Sylvari while learning more about the world, interacting with the Hylek, fighting back against the Nightmare Court, and even helping to defeat the risen Lich, Mazdak, a vile creature who struck down the noble knight Rhiannoch, making Rhiannoch the first ever Sylvari to die. And as Trahearne did so, he helped reclaim the legendary sword Calibolg, the first and only weapon that the Pale Tree created. Following these events, the threat of Zhaitan was ever increasing. The various factions of Tyria would not be able to defeat the Elder Dragon by themselves, even if they themselves could not realize it yet. This all came to a head as Trahearne and champions of the Vigil, Derman Priory, and Order of Whispers made their way to Claw Island on the suspicion that the Lion Guard fortress would come under attack by the Risen. And sure enough, Risen began to wash up on the shore as skeletal boats arose from the depths of the Sea of Sorrows to lay waste to the fortress. The Order agents and the Lion Guard did the best they could to defend the island from the attackers, but they were beaten, driven back, and forced off the island, losing valuable and beloved soldiers in the process. As the Lion Guard and the 3 orders reeled from the attack, a realization came to the orders' respective leaderships. Each order was strong and powerful in their own right, holding skills and assets that are invaluable in the defense of Central Tyria, but alone each would be overwhelmed by the might of Zhaitan. Trahearne used his contacts with each order to rally the 3 orders and recruit others across Tyria to form a coalition, a trinity of the 3 orders who would work together to retake Claw Island. And as Trahearne and the champions of the orders worked to this end, Trahearne met with the Pale Tree. Returning to the grove provided a moment of calm and reflection before the coming conflict. As Trahearne took the elevator to the Omphalos chamber, he was able to listen and experience what the Avatar and the tree had to show. That Trahearne would become a leader of a unified Tyria, the trinity of these three orders. That this newfound organization would not stop at recovering Claw Island, but would follow Trahearne's charge to the very heart of Or, and with him, Trahearne would wield the most legendary weapon of the Sylvari, the blade known as Caladbolg, wielded by the firstborn knight Rhiannoch as he fought against Zhaitan's accursed lich, Mazdak, but fell in battle, becoming the first Sylvari to die. A blade created from a thorn of the Pale Tree's own bow, and is the only weapon she ever has or ever will make. A living blade of heroes that is capable of enhancing each and every quality of its wielder: strength, wisdom, bravery, even fear, greed, selfishness. For a Sylvari to be able to use Caladbolg to its fullest, they must be pure of heart and pure of soul, like Trahearne. He took the blade from the Pale Mother with honor and returned to meet the leaders of the orders as they prepared to attack to reclaim Claw Island.
So, I see Gix stumbled out of his library, and the Preceptor crawled out of her hole.
I see you're not letting rationality get in the way of your ignorance, Almora. How predictable.
Who are you calling ignorant, you twitchy little bookworm?
Wonderful. I see we're off to a running start. The Order of Whispers needs allies, not infants.
Enough bickering, all of you. Our real enemy lurks across the waves. Zhaitan's servants march at the gates of Lion's Arch. We must band together, or we will all be destroyed.
When I joined my order, I swore to fight Zhaitan. I will die for Tyria if I must. However, I believe that together we can win. The Vigil has shown tremendous courage in the fight against the dragons. This alliance will require courage as well. Why back down now? The Order of Whispers has seen nations rise and fall. You cannot hide from this threat. You need to make a stand. And who knows more about the dragons than the Priory? Just think of how much there is to learn. Where else but in Or?
By the worlds of eternal alchemy, you're bold. But you're correct. Knowledge is useless if it is not used. We shall aid you.
The Order of Whispers has worked for generations to bring nations together. We can do no less now. Our blades are yours.
The Vigil fears nothing, not even ill-tempered, undisciplined louts like these two. We'll join, but I insist there's a decent hierarchy. Who will lead this compact?
Logic dictates that it cannot be a member of any of our orders, lest one be seen as above the other two. Quite a conundrum.
I've already considered that. Trahearne, you've never joined an order, yet they all respect you. You've studied Or all your life. Will you lead us?
I never wanted to be a soldier. I'm only a seeker of truth. But, yes, I will lead this pact to the gates of Ara, and together, we will see Zhaitan destroyed. First, to Claw Island. Let us send our defiant message straight into the heart of Or. Tyria stands as one. All my life, I've watched Or, studied it, researched the abominations that Zhaitan spawns. I have avoided the challenge of my wild hunt. I hid, always claiming I was not yet ready. I did not think Or could be cleansed. I feared failure, but you're right. It is time to act. We'll either cleanse the land, or return to it.
With Trahearne taking up the mantle of responsibility to become the leader of this united front, the orders sailed to Claw Island, working through the hordes of Risen on the docks, ramparts, and courtyards, working to fight back the hordes of undead and to reclaim a staging ground for more troops, eventually defeating an undead dragon that jeopardized the entire mission and reclaiming Claw Island for the Lion Guard.
We did it. We recaptured Claw Island, and in so doing, saved Lion's Arch as well. I do not know what lies ahead of us, my friend, but for the first time, I have hope. Hope that this alliance can save Tyria from the dragons. Hope for the future. Hope for all.
In the aftermath of the battle, Trahearne spoke to the agent of the Orders who had played a monumental part in the campaigns against the Risen and the unification of the Orders.
This is a momentous day. The tide of history has changed, Trahearne.
Indeed. Many people doubted. Even the Orders weren't truly certain it could be done. Never before has Tyria been so united. Let all hear the echo of this battle. We can defeat the dragons. We will.
Zhaitan waits at the center of Or, surrounded by a nation of undead. The battle to destroy the dragon will not be easy, but it can be won.
There is a ruined fortress at the edge of Or, south of the Shattercleft Hills. From that high cliff, you can see the spires of Or rising beyond the Straits of Devastation. We will take this fort and make it our own. The Pact will rebuild it. We will place our banners, and from there we will strike at the dragon's heart. I will make plans with the leaders of the Orders and gather troops at that location. You deserve some well-earned rest, my friend. Join me when you are ready, and together we will find a way to slay Zhaitan.
With the 3 Orders unified under one banner, the Pact, and with a second in command by his side, Trahearne began to march towards Or. Founding and building a massive fortress on the coast of the Steamspur Mountains on the border to the island of Or, Fort Trinity, that would serve as the staging ground for the assault into Or, where the 3 Orders laid an all-out assault through the Straits of Devastation, Malkor's Leap, and into the Cursed Shore, claiming ground and fighting back against the risen forces of Zhaitan. But Trahearne still continued to work and complete his wild hunt to cure the corruption of Or. As spies and scholars gathered what information they could, Trahearne and the Pact were able to locate and infiltrate the source of Or, the artesian waters that holds magics that were powerful enough to draw the 6 human gods to Tyria. And with Calabolg in hand, Trahearne was able to complete a ritual that began to cleanse Or from the corruption of Zhaitan and began a healing process across the land, officially completing his own wild hunt. But while Or was cleansed and Trahearne's wild hunt completed, there was still work to be done. Trahearne and the Pact began their push into the ruined city of Ara, the epicenter of the kingdom of Or, and the location that Zhaitan calls his own domain. Aboard the Pact's flagship, known as the Glory of Tyria, Trahearne led the Pact in their multiple front approach against a city that eventually led the Pact to fighting the Elder Dragon in the skies high above the ruined city. With a megalaser and canyons, the Pact was able to pin down and fire upon the Elder Dragon, cutting his wings and piercing through his flesh with a relentless onslaught, eventually forcing the Elder Dragon from the sky, killing him and freeing Tyria of his wrath.
Victory at last. With Zhaitan defeated, the corruption it wrought can be undone. The dragon's undead minions that still infest Tyria will now gradually be exterminated. One day soon, that plague will be but a memory. Zhaitan's defeat has saved many lives. More importantly, it has restored hope to a desperate world. The dragons are not stars in the sky. They can be counted. They can be fought. One day, we will kill the last of them. Only then will Tyria be safe. This is a new beginning for Or, and for Tyria. A clear sky after a long storm. This is a dawn that Tyria shall never forget. This day is ours.
Even though Trahearne had completed his wild hunt and the Pact had accomplished his goal in defeating Zhaitan, neither stepped away from the line of duty. The Pact was still able to be a force of good in Tyria, a united military organization that could address countless threats that seek to bring harm to the innocents in the various Tyrian nations. The Pact began to formulate a plan to launch an attack on a new Elder Dragon, Kralkatorrik. But as they were preparing and formulating this plan, a new threat would emerge. Scarlet Briar, a crazed second-born Sylvari, would sow chaos across Tyria, creating her own alliances of various enemy factions that would work to destabilize Tyrian nations, gather resources and information, and eventually launch a full assault on the city of Lion's Arch. But with the help of members of the Pact as well as the Lion Guard, Scarlet Briar was defeated, but not before she was able to complete her plan. Her massive ship, the Breachmaker, was able to drill deep enough into the earth to tap into a powerful concentration of magic beneath the city of Lion's Arch, a ley line. That, with the Breachmaker's manipulation, was able to redirect the energies west into the heart of Maguuma to awaken a dormant elder dragon, Mordremoth. In the aftermath of Scarlet Briar's attack, Mordremoth's awakening began to cause devastation to the people and the world of Central Tyria, where Mordremoth's plant-like minions, began to attack Tyria as Mordremoth's own vines reached as far as Ascalon, destroying entire settlements, including killing poor Wittelge Rupert. Trahearne and the Pact could not ignore this threat. With their focus on preparing for a conflict against Kralkatorg, they had to look away from that threat, but with their preparation they were able to redirect their focus to Mordremoth, establishing Camp Resolve in the Silver Wastes and to help stabilize Central Tyria and begin a push against Mordremoth. The adventuring group that the Pact commander met during the events of Scarlet Briar was able to help in conflicts against the Mordrem, and the members of Destiny's Edge arrived to help out in the coming assault. Aboard the Glory of Tyria, the Pact flagship that was used to defeat the Elder Dragon Zhaitan, Trahearne led the massive Pact fleet into the jungles of the heart of Maguuma, in the same fashion that they had done against Zhaitan, but without realizing that Zhaitan's weaknesses are different than that of Mordremoth's. As Mordremoth annihilated the Pact fleet and turned Sylvari against each other and their Pact allies, the Pact was all but defeated. Many Pact members were killed in the skies above Tyria, or on the jungle floor below soon after, and many more, including members of Destiny's Edge as well as Trahearne, were taken prisoners by the Jungle Dragon's forces, dragged deeper into the jungle away from the rest of the Pact. But many members of the Pact still survived. The survivals rallied together and began to establish footholds across the jungle. The Pact commander, alongside the Pact and their friends, were able to push deeper into the jungle, forming new allies, battling against countless enemies, and unlocking secrets that can be found throughout the jungle. Through massive sieges and extensive expeditions, the Pact forces were able to beat back the Jungle Dragon's minions all the way to the Heart of Thorns, a massive tree that is the central location where Mordremoth took root and is the core of his domain. As the commander and their team were able to fight into the Heart of Thorns, beating back the last of Mordremoth's defenders, they found Trahearne at the center of a massive tangle. Laying nearby was Calidbolg, shattered and scattered along the ground. Trahearne's own body was fused to the vines surrounding him, and he himself, being barely conscious but still able to communicate to the commander.
I see him! Hail Mother! What has the dragon done to him?
Commander, the Pact, is it?
All but gone, brother. But my team and I will finish this.
It's too late. I know. I am part of the Jungle Dragon now. It is everywhere.
So how do we kill it? Burn every field and fell every forest?
No, it can't be defeated that way. It'll just grow back. Its roots have spread too far. Too deep.
Then we destroy the root, Mordremoth's mind. Its strongest attacks come from its mind, from the dream. That's our target.
Sound strategy, Commander. Turn the tables and attack the dragon the same way it's been attacking us. Brilliant. You don't need a translator to understand that. The dragon doesn't like this idea.
Yes. Strike at the dragon's mind through the dream. It can work. And my connection will provide the access you need.
The Radanovan said each Elder Dragon has a weak spot. We just identified Mordremoth's.
I'm ready. If I concentrate, I can open a path into the dream, into Mordremoth's mind. Your minds will make the journey, but your bodies will remain here in the cavern.
Trahearne informed the commander that in order to defeat Mordremoth, the commander and 2 of their allies would have to enter the Dream of Dreams, the ethereal mindscape that makes up the Sylvari unconsciousness, and strike at Mordremoth's very own consciousness. The group went forth, fighting back nightmare after nightmare and attacking a manifestation of Mordremoth. The Elder Dragon did everything in his power to disrupt the commander's efforts and drive them away from the dream, but the group was able to beat back Mordremoth and defeat his own mind, stabbing the manifested avatar of Mordremoth and saving Tyria from its grasp. But as the group quickly awoke from the mindscape, they soon learned that their jobs were not yet completed.
You did it. 2 dragons down, 4 to go.
We did it. Mordremoth is dead.
Truly dead. I can't hear its voice in my head. It's completely gone.
And we Sylvari are still here. Still... us. I wasn't sure.
Commander? My sword, Galad Bolg, is nearby. It was a gift from the Pale Tree. I am connected, bonded to it. Only its power can free me from this. Please, bring it here.
I have the sword, Marshal.
Quickly now. Use it on me. Kill me, Commander.
What? No! Mordremoth is dead! We destroyed its mind from the inside.
But I still hear its voice. Mordremoth is alive. One last hateful vestige. A terrible seed planted deep in my mind. You must kill me, Commander, before that seed grows. Before Mordremoth reclaims what it has lost. What's left of me can't survive on its own. Strike now or...
I am the future. I am this world. You cannot destroy me. Run while you can.
I won't let all this be for nothing. I'm ending this now!
In a last-ditch effort to preserve himself, Mordremoth planted one last piece of his consciousness inside Trahearne. Knowing the ultimate sacrifice that he would have to make for Tyria, Trahearne instructed the commander to pick up the shattered remnants of Galad Bolg and drive the blade through Trahearne, ending Trahearne's life, but also ensuring the jungle dragon's ultimate death. As the commander did so, Trahearne's service to the Pact and to the Pale Tree came to an end as Mordremoth was destroyed and his magic exploded and re-entered the system of magic. Following the Pact's campaign in the heart of Maguuma, the commander was still left with the shattered remains of Galad Bolg, Upon returning to the grove, the commander discovered a statue near the entrance that was put up in memory of firstborn Trahearne to watch over the grove and all of its people. A Sylvari warden and former soldier under Trahearne by the name of Ridheis later requested an audience with the commander to pitch an idea to restore the sword to its former glory for the commander to wield in their own upcoming conflicts. This sent the commander on a quest across Tyria to collect various shards and motes of energy in order to restore the sword, which eventually brought the commander to experience visions of each of the sword's owners. The first being Rhiannoch, where the commander could learn that fear is important to understand one's allies and oneself. The second being Trahearne, where the commander was able to reassure the Pact Marshal that his sacrifice put an end to Mordremoth and saved Tyria. Where after interacting with Rhiannoch and Trahearne, the commander and Ridheis brought Caledbolg to the Artesian waters in Or once again, where the commander was able to face Caledbolg's third owner, the commander themselves, fighting back against the remnant of themselves and learning the importance of hope in a better future for Tyria, where upon defeating the remnant, Caledbolg was fully restored, a shining weapon that could fight back against evil and an everlasting memory of Trahearne. And that is the story of Trahearne. I hope you all enjoyed. If you like this type of video, feel free to check out some other lore and story videos that are put into a playlist here. If you want to learn more about Rhiannoch, Caledbolg's first owner, feel free to watch his story that is on your screen right now. I hope you're all taking good care of yourselves. Have a good one, everyone.